gone final in Milwaukee. Eastern Conference playoffs, first round, game one. And it's the 8-seeded Miami Heat with the win over the Bucks, 130-117. Of course, the big news here, huge news. Giannis Antetokounmpo played just 11 minutes, went out with a lower back contusion, left that game in the second quarter, finished with just 6 points on 2 of 4 from the floor, played only 11 minutes. Big game from Jimmy Buckets, playoff Jimmy. Jimmy Butler, 35 points, 11 assists there, so a double-double, 5 rebounds. Bam Adebayo adds 22, and Kevin Love off the bench with 18. Chris Middleton did have 33 for the Bucks, but it's the Bucks going down without Giannis. They lose 130-117. Also, Tyler Hero, he has lost as well. He left this game as well for the Miami Heat. He is out with the broken hand. We'll get more on him, but the Bucks lose to the Heat 130-117 game one, going to the dudes from the 305. Now let's go ahead and bring in CBS Sports NBA insider Bill Reiter. A big win there for the Miami Heat. They do it without Giannis Antetokounmpo. And, of course, Bill, that's where we're going to start there. Giannis going out, just 2 of 4 from the floor, played those 11 minutes, had that drive against Kevin Love in the first quarter with about 4 minutes left, landed on his back, a lower back contusion. He did come back, played another 2.5 minutes in the first quarter. Re-emerged in the second quarter there, Bill, with the tape around his back there. Played about a minute or so in the second quarter, then left for good. He is out with that lower back contusion. Bucks lose this game 130-117. Bill, how big of a blow was this for the Milwaukee Bucks as they lose this game, game one, to the Miami Heat on their home floor?
Larry, it's a nightmare scenario. Look, the Bucks before the Giannis injury were obviously very confident about what they could do in this series and going forward, but they didn't want the Miami Heat. Nobody wanted the Miami Heat in the first round because if they found their shooting boots, which they did in this game, best shooting game of the year, they revert back to a team that last year had the best record in the Eastern Conference. They had the best three-point shooting percentage last year in the NBA, and they made Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals, and that's before Giannis goes down. With no Giannis, losing home court advantage, obviously you noted there's question marks. We'll have to figure out and hear and find out what Giannis' status is going forward. But this is a brutal blow for a Milwaukee team that already knew they were in for a fight. They expected to win the series, don't get me wrong, but they knew it was going to be a tough battle if they had a healthy Giannis. Now Giannis is a question mark. They're down a game in this series. They've lost home court advantage. This is the worst possible beginning that the Bucks could have imagined. Yeah, and a poor shooting night for the Milwaukee Bucks. Just 11 of 45 from three there, so 24%. Miami Heat, on the other hand, 15 of 25, 60% from three. So they were blistering from downtown for the Miami Heat. Look at it, Bill. You talked about Giannis. We don't know his status going into game two. We know he left that game one with the lower back contusion there. How much of a problem will this be for the Milwaukee Bucks with Giannis not being there? And how much of a problem you think this back injury can be? Back injuries can be very, very tricky, Bill. Yeah, no idea on the injury. Obviously, you're right. They can be very tricky. We'll just have to wait and see. We all saw on television it didn't look good. You saw the crowd's reaction, but it's an unknown until we have more information. But if he's out, I mean, and I shouldn't laugh. Their championship hopes are over if he doesn't return in time to play. And they're certainly in jeopardy if he doesn't return over the course of the next 3 or 4 games of the series. And we don't know what's happening because this was a Bucks team that was 11-8 when they didn't have Giannis. Again, that's fine. That's mediocre. My math is right, kind of in the range of 46 or 47 wins. So kind of like the New York Knicks, a middle of the pack playoff team. But I want to reiterate again, this is a really dangerous 8 seed. The Miami Heat were exceptional last year. They were awful this year in terms of their three-point shooting and their offense. They went from the best three-point shooting team in the NBA last season to 27th this year. They went from the 10th best offensive team last year to, I believe, 26th this season. But we saw a different version of Miami in this game. So if you take Giannis out, if he's not around, Larry, and you combine it with a Heat team that's going to be infused with some confidence and at least in this game got their offense going, that's a situation where the Heat are clearly able to win this series.
Yeah, the Miami Heat, definitely one of the worst offenses in the NBA this year. Put up 130 points there. Really good for them. Led for the final 47 minutes there. Took the lead 5-4 and never looked back. Bucks got as close as 3 during the third quarter, but really it was the Miami Heat with a double-digit lead for most of this game. They're 15 of 25, shot 60% from 3. And how about playoff Jimmy? There we see him on the screen, Bill. A really good game. This is what we sort of expect from him. How good was Jimmy Butler for these Miami Heat? If he plays like this, they're going to be a really extremely tough out, Bill.
Yeah, he was exceptional, and we know what he can do in the postseason. He really sort of speaks to a mentality the Heat organization have, Larry, and whether it's wishful thinking or it's true. They believe, and this comes from Pat Riley all the way down. You talk to folks in that front office or that coaching staff like I have, and they will tell you, and they were saying this weeks ago before they knew where they were in the playoffs, if they were in the playoffs, who their matchup was going to be. They're big believers that the regular season is one season and the playoffs are a different season, and they believe, again, right or wrong, that they are uniquely built with their culture and their approach and their experience, and yes, Jimmy Butler, to be a much better version of who they are in the playoff season than the regular season. And when Jimmy Butler does things like this, and obviously if there are injuries to star players like Giannis on the other side, it affects things, but Jimmy Butler epitomizes to that organization their belief that Jimmy buckets and playoff Jimmy in the postseason speaks to the Heat being a different team in the playoffs. That group of guys out there, that entire organization, they believe they can beat anyone once playoff basketball begins.
And we're talking about a team, 2 of the last 3 years, made it all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals. Of course, went to the NBA Finals a few years ago down in the bubble in Orlando. All right, Bill, Game 2 is Wednesday night. That'll be back in Milwaukee. Probably Tyler Hero, don't know about him, had a broken hand. He left the game as well. Likely will not see him. Giannis, he's still up in the air. How do you see Game 2 going, and how important is this Game 2 for Milwaukee? Definitely don't want to go down 0-2 and then heading down to South Beach.
No, you can't go down. You can't go down 2-0 when you're the 1 seed with all the pressure that comes with that, obviously, and the expectations. You're right. I can't imagine. I don't know, but I can't imagine with a broken hand, Tyler Hero is going to be out there. I mean, this comes down, Larry, to whether or not Giannis is healthy and whether or not he can play. They're not going to rush him back, and I haven't talked to anyone in the organization. Obviously, this just happened, but I would assume, based on the people I know that run that team and common sense, they're not going to rush Giannis back because it is a best-of-7 series, and we've seen teams make comebacks even down 2-0 before, and you need a healthy Giannis, not a hampered Giannis, but every game that he misses, if he misses games, gives the Heat a huge advantage that none of us saw coming.
Huge advantage. Right now, it's the Miami Heat with the advantage, still in home court and up 1-0 in this series. He's our CBS Sports NBA insider, Bill Reiter. Enjoy the rest of the playoffs, Bill. Thank you very much. Eastern Conference playoffs here. Miami Heat take Game 1. And they win that game. No Giannis, played just 11 minutes, 6 points, 2 of 4 from the floor. Game 2 coming up in Milwaukee, the Cream City. That'll be Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. Bucks definitely need to win this game to even up the series. Then, of course, Game 3, the series, the scene shifting down to South Beach. That'll be April 22nd at Miami for Game 3. That'll be at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Giannis, question marks. Bucks, question marks. Can they get back in the series? We'll find out Wednesday night with Game 2.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.